Hey, what's up, guys? It is Josh Thomas here, back at you for another course preview. This week for the FedEx St. Jude Invitational. It is a new World Golf Championship event, but it is a course that we've played at in the past, TPC Southwind over in Memphis, Tennessee. So excited to get to that. But first, let's recap a little bit of what happened last week. We have the Open Championship, the last major of the year. It's crazy to think that we're in the middle of July and we have the last major of the year already. We got to wait all the way till April of next year for the Masters. But we have a good, slate of events coming up here with the WGC this week, and then we're rolling right into the FedEx Cup playoffs after the Wyndham. So we do have some fun stuff coming up, but it's crazy to think again that we are done with majors for the year. Last week, the Open Championship. What a performance by Shane Lowry. Couldn't happen to what seems like a nicer guy. Obviously, we don't know these guys, but it seems like just a well-liked character on tour, and he played fantastic. Really just couldn't believe how well he drove the ball. He had a little bit of a trouble on Sunday as he kind of went through that 9, 10, 11 stretch there, but man, the guy was lights out. That run that he went on Saturday afternoon at the end of his round, he was just unconscious with some of those birdies, and couldn't be it seems like it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Again, we had Brooks at the top of the leaderboard. We had Tommy Fleetwood right up there. Tony Finau snuck in with a nice T4. Bobby Mack, guy that Lee and I were both pretty heavy on, had a great performance, sneaking into the top 10 and getting an exemption on the PGA Tour. Now he's coming over to play in the Barracuda this week. Lucas Glover, a guy that I wrote up in my Taking the Pulse article, that was just way underpriced for his skill set, regardless of his Open history, came in with a T20. So some of those guys just had a great week. Personally, I was pretty heavy on Rory, Adam Scott, Hideki Matsuyama, RCB. So my 4-day lineups weren't great, but I had a lot of success in Showdown for the week. So I was able to kind of break even for the slate, and ready to head back into it this week with the FedEx St. Jude Classic. Last week we did have a contest. You had to like the YouTube video, comment who you thought was going to win. Nobody picked Shane Lowry, but Ryan Russell was closest with Tommy Fleetwood coming in second. So Ryan, we'll get a hold of you. You can email us over at Fanshare, and we'll get you set up for the 2019 NFL season. Speaking of the NFL season, use that promo code Josh for 20% off any subscription, whether that's PGA, whether that's NFL, whatever you want to do. Use that promo code Josh; it'll get you 20% off. I'm really excited about NFL this year with Fanshare. We got some great stuff coming along with our normal stuff. We're changing the way we have some of that research station look at. We're going to be able to look at groupings of ownership. We'll have FanDuel ownership. I really think that if you're looking to take your DFS game to the next level, Fanshare Sports is the way to do that. We provide a lot of information, but then I think the nice thing that we do is we also tell you how to disseminate that information, whether it's my Taking the Pulse article, Lee's showing how he uses the research station for his under the value picks, and we do the same thing in NFL. Along with that, we have the group Discord, lots of sharp guys in there talking strategy every single week. So it's a lot of fun and a great group to be a part of. So excited for what's coming in NFL. And hey, we still got a lot of PGA left here this year, and then we'll roll into the fall swing events. And right, all of a sudden, it seems like there's not really an off season for PGA. So get in, use that promo code Josh for 20% off, and we're gonna be rolling here. So looking at the course for this week. This is a new event in the sense that it's now a WGC. This event has been played for a long time now, I think since 1989. Really since the course opened, but it's now a WGC event. It has taken the place of the WGC Bridgestone Invitational, which used to take place in Akron, Ohio. Now we have the WGC FedEx St. Jude. So it's moved back a month right after the Open here. And kind of the new PGA Tour schedule, but it is a really fun event. It's a course that I think is going to be very challenging for the players, and one that I'm excited about. So TPC Southwind, we're in Memphis, Tennessee. It is a par 70. It plays at about 7,238 yards, depending on how they tee it. We have Bermuda greens, which will be something that that Florida swing that we see. So guys like Keith Mitchell will be pretty excited to get back on the Bermuda. Fairways are Zoysia. Anytime we have Zoysia fairways, you think of that springy, really bouncy fairways. It's very difficult to have a bad lie in these fairways. So guys they're in the fairway, they're going to be able to attack these small greens. Designer is Ron Pritchard. In consultation with Fuzzy Zeller and Hubie Green. Pritchard is kind of best known as a Don Ross restorer. So he kind of goes to these Don Ross courses, tries to make them so that they're able to be played with today's game. But so he lengthens, makes them, kind of brings them back to life in a sense. So it maybe his most famous one is Aronimink, which we've played some PGA Tour events in the past. I think Kyle Stanley won there. I think Tigers won there. But it really influenced by like a Don Ross, a Harry S. Colt. Some of these courses that we've actually seen quite a bit of lately. And the one thing that these courses all kind of have in common is that they're right in front of you. You want to put that ball you can see what you need to do. You put that ball onto the fairway, you're going to be in good shape. He also takes a lot of influence from some link style. So in kind of the tighter fairways, the rough here is going to be very difficult to get out of. It's not going to be long, but these Bermuda lies or this Bermuda rough, it can really hang your club up. It's especially around the green. It's going to be very difficult this week. Course record 61, Bob Estes in 2001, Jay Delsing in 1993. With the WGC this week, it is a little bit of a different event. We only have 64 players in the field, and it is a no-cut. And in a no-cut event, I think that ownership becomes even more important in that, obviously you're going to want to eat the chalk in some of these areas, but I think that anytime that you can differentiate, when you know that there's no chance that your guy's going to miss the cut, I think that's huge. So playing some of these low-owned guys, especially when they have 64, these are some of the 64 best players in the world. Yes, there's some guys that get into these WGCs because they won an Asian Tour event or they won an Australian Tour event, things like that. But really, for the most part, we have 55 guys here that are the best in the world. A couple of guys decline, but for we're talking the best guys in the world. So if I can get a top-notch player at low ownership, I'll do that every week. I think the perfect example is last year at this event. It was the WGC Bridgestone Invitational at Firestone over there in Akron. Last year, I remember clicking into Fanshare I think it was Wednesday morning, or actually I think it was Thursday morning before they teed off, because with only 64 guys, they don't have to tee off till 9 a.m. It was about 8 a.m. and I remember looking and saying we had just updated the ownerships, and I remember seeing that Mark Leishman was about $7,900 or $8,000, which was a fair price. He hadn't been playing great, but was going to be low single-digit own. And at that point, I reconstructed my lineups. I went, I got myself 30% leash, just really kind of tried to leverage the field there on a low-owned guy that I thought, hey, he's got a lot of game. I think this longer course at Bridgestone will benefit him. He's able to get away with it a little bit off the tee there. I think, hey, let's make a leverage play on the ownership and go, 7x of the 5% own that he was going to be. I think he ended up coming in at like 4.5%, and ended up finishing, I believe, second to JT. So really, those are the sort of situations that you can take advantage of, and something that I think that we do a great job of at Fanshare with our excellent and accurate ownership projections. Previous winners here: DJ 19 under, Danny Berger, one here back to back, Fabian Gomez, Ben Crane. Now, obviously, we have some names that aren't popping there as elite, but now that it's a WGC, we're gonna see these elite players winning here. We talk about this course. I said it was a kind of similar to a Don Ross course, in that you want to keep the ball in front of you. The fairways are very tight here. You're going to see guys clubbing down all week, trying to keep that ball in the fairway. They don't want to be in the rough. Not only do they not want to be in the rough because that Bermuda rough's hard to play out of, but we have smaller than average green sizes here. So being able to hit these greens, you're going to be in good shape. There's not a ton of undulation. I think that sometimes they're a little bouncy, so you got to be careful kind of where you landed on the green. So having a good approach game is going to be huge. But you get that ball on the green, you stay below the hole, you're going to have a good shot at birdie. So that's something that we really want to look at. Guys that are able to hit the greens, and then guys that are able to find the fairways. But again, maybe you have a guy that's not as accurate off the tee, but they're able to club down. I know Brooks Koepka's played here a bunch of times in the past, and he's talked about, hey, like, I'm at an advantage here that it's not a long course, but instead of hitting drive or 3-iron into these longer par fours, I'm able to hit 3-wood 4-iron, so I'm able to back off the tee a little bit, be accurate, find the fairway with my 3-wood, and then I'm able to hit a little bit of a shorter club into the green still because of how long I am and how big and strong I am. So while we want to look at driving accuracy this week, you got to take that with a grain of salt because, again, guys are going to be clubbing down a little bit here. And then again, with the small greens, scrambling going to be huge. So if you miss these greens, being able to get up and down and save par is big. Kind of get the overview of the course here. We've got 2 short par 3s, 2 long par 3s, 1 short par 4, 4 medium par 4s, 7 long par 4s. I think that's really the key here this week is we've got a lot of that long par 4s. 2 short par 5s, no long par 5s. So the 2 short par 5s you're going to be able to score on, but these long par 4s, I think that's the one key stat that we're going to want to look at this week. I think that when I looked at it, we're looking at 9 to 10% more shots in that 150 to 175 range in approach, and then we're above average in over 200, and then the guys will have a lot of wedges into these greens as well. So I think that you find the fairway, you have a pitching wedge, a 9-iron into your hand, you got to be able to score on some of these. We'll break down some of the holes here. We've got, now that last week we didn't really have this data because we don't have any information on Portrush, but now that we're back to an event that we've played, we're able to look at kind of the average scoring over the years, birdies versus birdie average, how many pars, double bogeys, things like that. So hole 1, difficult starting hole to come on. It's not an easy hole by any means. I think par is a great score here. We're only going to see about 16% of the times this hole's played a birdie. That's a little bit over average, but really I think par is a great score here. You kind of look at this column on the far right, the double bogey or worst percentage. There are a lot of big numbers out here. Again, it's tight. It's well bunkered, and there's actually quite a bit of water running through this property. So you're going to see some guys making some big numbers here. For whatever reason, it seems like even with these small greens, it seems like we see some of the bigger numbers on the weekend here, with guys able to, or just them being able to tuck pins and things like that. And so guys that are chasing are trying to hit those tight shots in and end up making a big number because they either fly the green and end up in trouble, or they end up in the water, things like that. So again, the big number is in play here. You cannot, if you want to win this event, you got to stay away from double bogeys the entire week. So hole number 1, not an easy hole by any means, but we get a bounce back on number 2, a very short par 4. Lots of birdies on this hole. This is a great hole to get it going on. Then you roll right into a par 5 that's going to play under par. It's not going to be an eagle hole. I think the 16th hole is kind of where we're going to look at for some eagles here. But this is a hole that if you walk off with par, you're going to be disappointed in yourself. You want to make birdie here. Again, it's a lower birdie percentage for a par 5, but a high enough rate here that guys need to make a birdie here, and you can string me 2-3 back to back. Again, we talk about how important those streaks are in golf. So being able to maybe get that 3 birdie streak here is going to come on like a 2-3-4. But it's not an easy hole on par 4, or on number 4. We got almost a 200-yard par 3, the one par 3 that we don't have a water carry on this week really. Again, par will be a good score here. You miss the green, we're bringing double into play here for sure. You end up in one of these bunkers, you're looking at a possible double bogey. Hole number 5 is a long par 4, and it is going to play difficult. Look at that, 30% bogey rate for the week on average here. 96% bogey versus average rate for the field. So that's difficult. This is one of the most difficult par 4s that the guys will play all year. You hold on here and try to get a par, and then you get a little bit of a chance back at number 6 and a medium length par 4, but they come back and punch you right in the teeth again on hole number 7. That's kind of the way this course is set up. Is you're gonna have a birdie hole followed by a bogey hole, a birdie hole, bogey hole. So it kind of as you look down here, it's you're not gonna see a lot of those streaks. So I really think if we look at it here, 2, 3, 4 is really our best chance at a streak for this week for your guys. Maybe 9, 10, 11, depending on how you play that. If you start on 1, you're able to maybe get in there and get that, but very difficult course in that it's tough to get some momentum going here. You look back at the winning scores. I'm just going to fly back to that slide really quick here. You got DJ kind of went nuts last year, 19 under, but that 10, 13 under here is kind of going to be where we're at. I would imagine even with this tough field, we're going to see that 10, 13 under, and now we're playing it a month later. I think that, June, it's always very warm here. This is one of the hottest tournaments. It seems like it's hot and humid the whole time. I think July, it's still going to be hot, but it's going to be dry. They've had some rain, but it's going to dry out, and you're going to see balls running through the fairways. You're going to see balls not holding the greens, and it's going to be a difficult test. So back to hole number 8, another par 3 here, plays a little bit over par. It's a birdieable hole, at least for a par 3. Again, it's all about your approach game. It's all about getting it in the right spots and leaving yourself an uphill putt to bury. And then hole number 9 is going to be one of the. It's a very difficult hole to finish on. For guys that start on the back. One of the 457 yards. It's not super long by any means, but it's a definite bogey hole for sure. And then you're bringing in I think this played as the 3rd hardest hole last year. You're going to bring in double bogeys as well. So again, a difficult hole to finish on. 10, pretty average. It seems like we get more of the big swings in the holes on the front. We have a lot of pretty average par 4s on the back. That par's a good score. You make a birdie, you're fine. Or you're excited. You don't want to make a ton of bogeys here. There's not like the overly hard hole until you get to 18. But again, not an easy hole by any means on 10. 11, we have a little bit, a very short 160, 155 yard par 3, depending on the day. It's a birdieable par 3. It's a kind of a recreation of the 17th at Sawgrass. It's not a full island green, but it's close. There's water all on the front. There's that little pot bunker that guys can end up in there. But a fun little par 3 hole, played under par on average. So guys can birdie it if they put it in the right position. Hole 12, shorter par 4 that actually plays over par. You don't see a lot of 400-yard par 4s that play over par, but this is one of them, and it's got one of the highest double bogey rates on the course. And again, that's because there's water in play. 13, 472, a little bit over par. Again, par is a great score here. Anything else, you're kind of kicking yourself. 14. Another water par 3 hole, 239 yards. That is super long for a par 3. Guys are gonna struggle here to make par. And again, you're carrying water the whole way. Water really doesn't come into play because you should hit enough club that you're carrying it, and the bailout to the left is there. You might end up in the bunker, but you should be fine again. But you might end up short. It's a long hole. I remember watching this hole last year and thinking like, my God, I'd have to hit like 3-wood here. And I feel like I'm pretty long, and I just hit 3-wood to make sure that I didn't end up in the water. But guys will end up. There's a big bunker running along the inside there to catch any balls that are short or just a little bit offline. 15, very short par 3, again 395. Like, we're talking it's almost drivable for some of these guys if it was straight away, but played over par. Birdie available here, but again, you got to put yourself in the fairway and you got to hit a very good approach shot in. 16, this is going to be a fun hole, 530 yards, short par 4 or par 5. Gonna see some eagles here. I think we had 12 last year. This could really get your momentum going. You don't want to make par here. Do not want to make par here. That's a real kick in the teeth. Again, I think in a no cut, it's maybe a little bit easier to make par here and not feel bad about it. Whereas a cut event, you want to, your guys got to make that cut if you want, or make that birdie here if you want to get 6 to 6 through. As this course is kind of want to do, we go from 16 to 17. 17 is a brutally hard par 4. Not quite as hard as the 18th, but a hard hole nonetheless. Again, a little bit of water in play. We have par's a good score. You're not going to see a lot of birdies, but we bring bogey and double bogey into play. 18, one of my favorite holes. I think in golf period, one of my favorite finishing holes. We have a little dog leg left. You have water on your left, bunkers on your right. Got to hit the fairway here. Got to hit the green. You got water in play on both holes. If the wind picks up, which it can here, right now it's a little early to check the weather for that, but the wind can definitely pick up. We end up, you get a gust and maybe it ends up in the water and you're in trouble there coming in. This is the hole that DJ had a walk off on last year. He's sitting in just off to the rough on the right, 150 yards, hits a wedge, holes it, eagle, wins by 6. He was already up by I think 4 on Andrew Putnam. So he walks off. That's the win. Doesn't get that moment on the green, but Putnam has to still come up and finish out his hole. So it was a great event for DJ heading into I believe the U.S. Open last year. So again, this is a difficult course. There's birdies here, but there's also bogeys. So I think, like I said, -10, we're talking a winner. Around here, 11, 12, you do that, you're going to at least be in contention for a win. The field, again, this is a stud field. This is a WGC. We've got some guys like Cody Ichichara and Shugo Imahara and Poom Saxonson, Philip Erickson, guys that, we maybe normally don't see, but nonetheless, this is a stacked field. I think we might see some guys, WD here ahead of this event. I wouldn't be surprised to see Shane Lowry pull out. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe even a Brooks pull out. Maybe not Brooks. He's played here before. I think that's kind of the key as well. Having that experience playing in this event is going to be huge this week. So if we kind of roll through, I know Keegs has played here. Rafa's played here. Bryson has not. Finau missed the cut here last year, which wasn't very promising. Furix played here. Rory, Decky have not. Phil's played here a ton. He's got great history. We'll look at that in a second. A lot of these Euro guys, though, have not played here. So this might be the week, whereas last week we kind of banked on a lot of those Euro guys. This might be the week that we kind of want to jam in some of these Americans that have had some success here in the past. One of the things that we can do at Fanshare is look at guys' history just by certain event type, whether that's major, WGC. I pulled up the last 10 times that guys have played in the WGC events, their average DK points. Rory leads the way here at 91.33, followed by DJ, Tiger, Molinari, JT, good WGC player. Kiz, he's got those DK points from the match play that he's done real well at. Sergio seems to always show up in these events. Beauregard has had a good run this year in those WGCs, and Fowler and Kuchar, kind of your standard names. But again, we got a lot of Americans in there, a little intermixed. But again, DJ, Tiger, JT, Fowler, Kuchar, guys that I want lots of this week. We look at sort of the FedEx St. Jude history. I tried to keep this with guys in the field. I don't believe Holmes is in the field this week. He's had some good history here, though. But Phil leading the way here. He's had a lot of success here over the years. Always has played it because it's led into the U.S. Open. And however you feel about Phil, he's a good guy at Hardy. I think he donates a lot to charity, does a lot of stuff for St. Jude. So a guy who's played here quite a bit. We have the sample size. Shane Lowry's played here once. Adam Scott, has played here once. A guy like Brooks Koepka, though, has played here 4 times. And has had quite a bit of success. So he's a guy, if he stays in the field, somebody I want. Ches Reavie, very interesting name. Somebody that I think is going to maybe come in under own this week, because as guys play the guys who they just saw on TV this week and having some success. So maybe might be an ownership leverage play there with him or even a Brandt Snedeker. So something that we can definitely you can use if you're a Fanshare Pro member. Something that I look at every week to see, hey, who's got history here? Who's got history? I can maybe, I might go in this week and look at guys who have success at Donald Ross tracks. So I might click in some of those Donald Ross courses and see if maybe that's an indicator of success here. And I can combine, WGC and FedEx St. Jude events and see who's showing up. Again, couple of final thoughts. Here we go. Winners. Chalk Donkey Sleeper, something I'm trying to add every week to our this little video. I really think that JT is starting to fire on all cylinders. This is not going to be a putting event, and that he's going to be comfortable on the Bermuda. They're not going to have a ton of long putts. It's going to be 12, so it'll be a little faster than this week, which I think actually benefits him. He looked great at the Open, I thought, especially even in the win today. I thought he was fantastic. So I think JT's really setting up for a win here. I think I really thought Schauffele struggled on the weekend. As soon as he, it's hard to quantify guys' mental state sometimes, but as soon as they started talking about that driver, it seemed like his game went down. He had one really nice round on Friday, and after that I thought he was very mediocre for the entire week. In fact, kind of poor the last 2 days. So I think that Xander probably gets quite a bit of buzz this week, just off the great round he had on Friday. Probably not a guy that I'll be playing this weekend. And a sleeper, the second place finisher last year, he might not end up being a sleeper. He might get some buzz this week just because guys look at that. But I think in a WGC field, he's going to be priced pretty low. He should be in that 6K range, maybe right at 7K on DraftKings. And I think Putnam has put together quite a few really nice tournaments in a row against some great fields. So he's the guy that I'm going to be looking at getting some exposure to this week. So again, give us a follow on Twitter, DFS Up North, Fanshare Sports, DK Golf Bargains is my boy Lee Aldrich. So he's going to have those under the radar value picks for you this week. As always, use that promo code Josh for 20% off any subscription, whether that's NFL, PGA. We got some great things going at Fanshare Sports. I'm really excited about it. So in closing, remember, TPC Southwind, it's a par 70. I think we're looking at a 10, 11, 12 under score here to win. Tight fairways, difficult rough, small greens. All right, so you want to focus on guys that are accurate. You want to focus on guys that are hitting a ton of greens. Secondary, I think we can look at scrambling. I think that you can, find guys that are good scramblers, able to get it up and down and save par here. I think that's going to be big. I'm not going to be paying attention to putting this week. I don't think I'm going to be paying attention to driving distance. I think strokes gained off the tee you can look at. Birdie or better, maybe I might weight that a little bit in my model, but again, keep it simple here. Focus on those strokes gained approach. And then I think and driving accuracy and strokes gained off the tee, I'm going to give a little bump to guys that have played here in the past. And then as always in these WGC events, I'm really going to focus on ownership. And I think the best place that you can find that ownership is here at Fanshare Sports. So definitely look to become a member. Again, promo code Josh, 20% off any subscription. Have a great week. Looking forward to a fantastic WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational.